I use art to create sacred space for people. But for me, it helps me get in touch with my sacred space inside.
Hey guys, you're listening to AndreasTalksArt.
It's the wild, wild west out here. I'm trying to hunt down all the artists on their creative pursuit. Art is this expression of human imagination that drives the process of introspection and contemplation, that creates a limitless potential of creativity. And in the end, it's not about the art. It's about the mind and the soul that turn their imagination into a reality. So what does it mean to be an artist? And more importantly, what does art mean to you? Yo, what is up, guys? Today I have a special guest on. I sat down with Clair Laustsen. She's a Colorado native, a Denver area muralist, and a painter. Claire is drawn to spending time outdoors, and nature is the main subject of all her work. She's also inspired by bright colors she feels inside, and she seeks to spread seeds of hope with her paintings and murals, creating sacred spaces wherever they may land. Sacred space is a time in for being quiet and getting in touch with what resides in our minds. So let's sit down and talk with Claire all about her art and her sacred spaces.
Do you remember when you first got into art?
Well, when I was a kid.
Yeah. You've always been doing art?
No, I did it when I was a kid. I started drawing Disney characters off the front of like movie.
Yeah, like Disney
those
princesses and stuff?
Those big VHS things.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd draw princesses and all that. So it started like that. And then when I was like 6, my parents had a house with a playhouse in the backyard over by DU.
Yeah.
And we fixed it up, and I got to paint the walls in there. So that was my first mural.
Oh, whoa. The whole space.
My sister and I each got a wall in this little playhouse. I painted a bunch of rainbows and clouds.
What was that like, painting? Like, that's like the biggest thing you painted, like, at that point? Like,
yeah, I was 6, so
yeah. You were 6?
Yeah.
You painted the whole wall, like, up on the ladder and stuff?
No, I mean, it's a playhouse, so it was small.
Okay. Yeah.
I think my dad painted the background, probably like just blue walls, and then we just went crazy with rainbows and clouds and, kid stuff.
Yeah. And then from there, you kept painting, or you didn't? You said you didn't do art this whole time?
I mean, as a kid, I did it on and off.
Yeah.
And, like, I just remember moments standing out where I felt really good doing art, Like, when I was younger, we had these paper things that you could draw on, and then, like, my mom or my grandma sent them in, and they made plates out of them. So I still have these plates from when I was 10 that I drew this amazing tree on with, like, all these branches and so much detail. So just, like, moments like that stand out, But then as I got older, like, I took an art class in high school, but only one. And
just like a basic art class?
Yeah, like a drawing. Well, I might have taken 2. Like, one was a basic sketching class, and then a pottery class.
Yeah.
But that was it. I wasn't, like, crazy into it. It just was something that I could always kind of do,
It's more just like a hobby?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And then it transitioned from a hobby to more of a, what would you say, like, art is for you now?
More like a passion.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make it an income.
Okay. So how'd it go from being a hobby to a passion?
So it changed. I got married a while ago, and I had this 10-year relationship and had a son and all these things. And art was kind of, like, I did some canvases for our walls, but it was never a huge part of my life. And then after we divorced, that's when I just dove in.
Interesting.
And I was like, what am I going to do with my life now?
Just because, like, you had free time or an emotional release? Or?
I think it was an emotional release. I had some free time because I didn't have my son all the time anymore.
Right.
We have 50-50 custody, so I just had a lot more time, and I was like, I was going through this whole change of how I looked at the world and my life and what I wanted it to be. Because I worked at Citigroup for a while when I was married, and that's how I met my husband at the time. And I just knew I didn't want to go back to corporate, someone else running my life and working a 40-hour week and all that. So I just started diving in. And
art like felt like a way to get out of that, the corporate life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to be my own boss.
Yeah. So what are you doing now? I know you teach.
I work at the library.
Okay.
I do story times for kids 0 to 5 ages. And so that is like a 30-hour thing technically, and I hope to transition out of it
and do art full time. Mm-hmm. So now you're big into murals. Is mostly what you do? Is that what you're trying to turn into the business?
I am, yeah. The mural thing is the biggest part.
So you've painted more murals since the little playhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the start, and then I had like a 30-year gap almost.
Yeah.
And then my sister asked me to paint another one after I was separated, and I was just kind of in this weird place. I didn't know what I wanted, and she's like, well, I'm about to have a baby. I want you to paint this tree in the nursery. And I was like, fine, I can do it, and I just knew I could. I never thought I couldn't, and I did it, and I was like, oh my God, I love doing this. I forgot,
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it restarted.
That was the first thing.
I was separated and emotional and just in this place of what do I want out of life? And then she was like, paint this tree, and it just kind of exploded from there.
Like how did it explode? Like what did that do for you painting that mural?
It was like this alone head time that was amazing.
Yeah.
I felt connected to, myself and my soul and just coming out, And so I'm just listening to music, like alone in this room, painting a tree. And I've always just been connected to trees and the fractals and kind of how the branches branch off and just how there's a pattern, but there isn't totally. It's like this imperfect pattern, of flow of branches and leaves and stuff. So I just was totally into it, and I loved doing it. And then I went home and did one in my son's room and just started. And then a friend asked me to do one in her nursery, and just.
So you're just doing these all for like friends and family, just for fun, or
that is how it started.
To practice? Yeah. And then have you since then like done any commission gigs?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've done a lot.
A lot.
I would say a lot. Pretty good.
Have you been finding these or getting connected to these people?
Thumbtack is one way. They find me through Thumbtack. And that's a site where you put all your info in, and then they, if they reach out to you, if they message you, you pay for the lead.
Okay.
And if it's an exact match, I don't know, they have some grid they look at and you charge you whatever. But it's between like $10 and $20 a lead usually.
Nice.
So I've got a lot of people through there.
Yeah.
And then through Facebook, like those groups that you can join, neighborhood groups.
Right.
Whatever, buy and sell, Centennial buy, sell. And I've posted some pictures of murals on there. And then I've met some people and done some more through that. Nice.
So how has that been, painting commission murals versus just doing ones for fun or for free?
It's still awesome because usually people reach out and they have some kind of idea, or they liked something that I already did. Right. So they want a version of that matches. Like I did a willow tree 2 months ago in a nursery, and it was very neutral and like calm colors, just brown tones, kind of boho look. And then I posted that on Facebook, and someone else wanted very similar, but obviously I adapt it for their space. And hers, was darker trunk with like some light pink and light yellow in it to go with their nursery. So
you're still like painting things you like, you painting trees, and just like nature in general is a big part of your style, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite tree to paint?
Right now it's probably a willow tree.
Willow tree.
That's what I did at Denver Art Society. Yeah. But that one was totally different because I normally brush paint and I normally don't use spray. So.
That was your first time doing spray paint?
Second, maybe.
Second, okay.
Yeah. Ever.
all your murals are like acrylic and like brushes?
Yep. I don't use like the acrylic we use on canvases. I just use like wall paint.
Yeah.
So.
Is that different?
It is. I think it dries faster and it's a little thicker.
Okay.
well, maybe it doesn't dry faster, but
You don't have to paint over it a bunch of times.
yeah. Yeah, the opacity is definitely different.
That's cool. And how was using spray paint?
I liked it because it went over stuff so quickly.
Yeah.
So doing the backgrounds and everything and getting in all the cracks, that was awesome. Because, I mean, when I do indoor murals, there's some texture on the walls, and you really have to take your time, like doing those lines and cutting it and making sure it gets in all the grooves. So
Filling all the cracks. So, like, you think you'll, like, keep using spray paint with your murals?
probably an outdoor.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you do anything else besides murals, or is that mostly...
I do. Like, I have other side things when there are less murals going on, because people just don't think of it as much in the winter, I feel like. So there aren't as many people reaching out. So I'll paint on canvas, and I also paint wine glasses.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I saw you make cards too.
Oh, yeah. I have some note cards made. I kind of just use those more for my business.
Just like hand out and stuff.
And when I send thank yous.
Yeah.
So I try to have so much gratitude for every job that I get, and so I at least send a thank you card with some business cards in there and like handwritten, just, thanks for the experience, and I loved it, and just something personal. So
Totally.
I'm actually I had a friend give me this great idea. It's to take a picture of a mural I did, which I obviously take pictures anyway, and get note cards made of those, like blank note cards with my info on the back. And
almost
then,
like a postcard.
Yeah, but I did note cards. That way my info could be just mural by, and how to find me. And then the owner, like, I'm going to send 10 blank ones to the people as like a thank you.
Yeah.
And so then they can use them and send them
That's
out.
awesome.
And if they'll do it, I don't know. So.
Use them to get your name out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And they can use them as thank yous, like if they're having a baby, or whatever. So.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you want to show your gratitude for these people or the project you have. So with these murals, you're like in their space for a while, right? Do you like get connected with the people you're creating stuff for? Yeah.
I'm like so happy to go into every project that I just feel like I don't know. It's like kind of contagious, and the people are usually super nice and super excited for me to be creating something for them. And a lot of times there's some personal twist on it, like extra meaning. Like the last one I did a willow tree, but I also at the bottom painted a dandelion.
Yeah.
With the seeds blowing away. And for the mom, that represented her mom, who had just passed away. Her mom really liked dandelions, but also the seeds blowing away is kind of like her life blowing, into the wind.
And also like spreading the seeds around. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I connect with people because they often share, these intimate things, something that's meaningful to them that I then get to put on their wall.
Yeah. Do you like having people around when you're painting, or does that add pressure to it?
I prefer to be by myself.
Yeah.
I usually have some AirPods in, just kind of working away in my own head.
Yeah, totally. And so I know with these murals, you're trying to like create this space for them, right?
Yeah.
So what is Sacred Spaces?
Yeah, so that's my business name, and it started, I think in 2017 I got my LLC, and I just really liked the idea of creating sacred space through art and other things. And I try to do it for myself, and I just feel like sacred space is different for each person, but it's like a way to reconnect with yourself. Yeah. And like oftentimes it's a calming space or some kind of free space to have feelings or whatever you need, kind of thing, like a touch in with yourself. Yeah. And so I feel like since I paint nature, that's kind of what nature does for people. Like when people are out in nature and amongst all the fractal things, it's very calming for us. So that's kind of the whole idea behind the sacred space is I create, a nature mural like in your home or outside or wherever to kind of contribute to that feeling of being able to reconnect with yourself kind of thing.
That's cool. Do you do most of them inside or outside?
I probably have more indoor right now.
That's cool.
Which is okay with me. It's pretty hot out.
Yeah.
I got pretty burned the other day when we were at
I got burned too. Got red shoulders.
Yeah, I was like, woo. So, I don't mind being outside. Obviously that feels good, but I have definitely more indoor. Like in the past 6 murals, I think I've only had 2 outdoor. So
nice.
Yeah.
So what's some of the hardest textures or spaces to create murals on? Because there's so many different, with outside, there's all different kinds of textures, and you're saying with the inside, all the grains and
grooves. Yeah. I mean, a brick wall that has nothing else on it, and it's older, that is probably the hardest texture, which is why I reached for the spray paint.
That's where the spray paint comes in. Yeah.
But indoor, the trickier part for me is if they want something in a stairwell.
Oh, yeah.
How to...
Weird shapes.
Position a ladder and how to get in there.
Yeah. One thing I think is interesting with murals is the scale of them, and being able to make whatever image, what the trees or the nature landscape, make it look the proportions and everything, make it look real. Or are you trying to make these look real?
I feel like I have real aspects to all of it, and I feel like proportionately they're pretty on. Yeah. But I also am okay with it is a painting, so there might be pink and yellow branches, whereas there wouldn't be in a real willow tree, So there are definitely elements that identify the type of tree that I'm going for, or, whatever. But I like to play with color sometimes too and make it different and fun.
Is there something you're trying to do with the color or is it just to kind of play with the color and make it fun?
I think it just depends on each space and kind of what people want, and that's kind of where I customize for people, right? Yeah. So I have a niece that I did a tree, and the trunk was white with gray lines for the texture and the bark, and then 2 colors of bright green leaves, and then she had rainbow colored flowers in there because she wanted a rainbow tree, Yeah. And my sister wanted something that would grow with her, so we kind of get a twist on what worked for everyone.
To make their sacred space?
Yeah.
So this is just a conversation with them, or how do you find their sacred space? Yeah.
So I pretty much almost always do a free consult, and I go to the wall and I talk to the person and talk through it. If they've seen any images they're interested in, I like to see those, just kind of what's going through their mind. But we talk about it, and the last willow tree with the pink and yellow, I'm looking around the room, kind of what's your decor, what do you like, and we talk through it. So make it personal for each person.
That's cool. So after the consult, then you come back. Do you always know exactly what you're going to paint for them in the space?
I usually take pictures of their wall if I can get a good picture straight on, and I do a design on my iPad.
Okay.
I actually brought it, so
nice.
On Procreate.
Yeah. So you do digital work too?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, it's kind of self-taught.
Yeah.
Through YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
But I learned how to make the layers, and so sometimes if I have a couple ideas going, I'll do them both on there and just send them both over to whoever. So.
And that's more so to sketch out your ideas for the murals?
Yep.
So once you have it on the iPad, how do you get it onto the space? What's the first step? Do you sketch these out on the wall? Or?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I usually just use whatever color paint I'm feeling, and I just kind of sketch out the bare bones and get it going from there.
Yeah. Is it because because I noticed with at the Alley Rally painting the wall, you did the blue sky first, but you left like space for the tree. So you generally like start with the background, then
if there is a background.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these, like indoor, the tree's just on whatever color they have painted the whole room.
Interesting.
So I don't tend to, on those, I don't have backgrounds sometimes, you know, a lot of the time, because then it's cheaper for people. So I charge per square foot and the level of detail. So if they're filling in every inch of the space, it's going to cost more.
Okay. How do you measure out like the shape or the size of a tree?
That's kind of an iffy thing, right? I mean, but we kind of agree on it as we're going through, you know. I just measure kind of where it is, but a lot of times for a tree, I just get like the rectangle, what it's going to be in, and I'll often kind of go over on the top, or I'll measure a little less, you know, on each side. And the branches may go further, but then obviously in the trunk area, there's not as much. So it's kind of an estimate kind of thing.
Yeah,
not totally. A perfect science.
It's an art, right?
Exactly. It's part of art.
So you're using brushes mostly, or are you using any other tools?
Brushes, paint, tape.
Yeah.
I tape like... Sometimes I don't know if you saw my mural in the high school. I did one in a high school a few weeks back, a couple months back. And it was like geometric mountains.
Okay.
So it was very like triangular mountains everywhere. Yeah. And I taped off a lot of that because you just need the clean lines kind of thing. So that's another thing I use a lot. But that's it really. I'd like to try like some kind of paint sprayer.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Like an airbrush or like... Yeah, totally. What kind of... Are you using like massive brushes to paint these or what?
It depends, but I have like a thing of tons of sizes. And I end up replacing them often because of the textures of the wall. Oh, really? Because there's just a lot of bumps and and I can be pushing hard or really cutting an edge, you know, with these tiny brushes. And I'm painting sometimes for a couple of hours with the same color, so it's really loaded in there and kind of gunky, and I just don't worry about it. I buy it, like I don't spend tons of money, but I replace them kind of often. How often? Every couple months. Yeah. I buy a new pack, like variety pack, and throw it in, and I just throw them away as I need. And if I notice a certain size I need is gone, I'll make sure to get that. But yeah, it's mostly just a variety pack, and I like the angled. I tend to lean toward the angled brushes. Why? Just better to hold it? I feel like I have better control just with the angles, and like when I'm cutting so many edges on these bumpy walls, you just have to go really slow on the sides and kind of let each bristle get in there so that it's all filled in and not all like fuzzy on the edges, you know? Yeah. So what's the hardest part about painting a mural versus painting a canvas? I guess I almost feel like murals are easier. How come? I think it's because I feel like I haven't found my own style on canvases, and when I paint murals, I'm painting what I'm getting from someone else that they kind of want. Yeah. Does that make sense? So they're telling me, like, I want this type of thing, right? A tree or whatever, and maybe my style is trees, and I don't know. But on a canvas, there's almost like too much freedom. So I need to feel really like in the zone to do those. So you don't do those nearly as often? No. And you don't even like paint trees on canvases like you do on murals? I like have dreams about it, and I fall asleep thinking I should paint this tree on a canvas. Right. And lately I haven't had time. I've been booked like with murals every week. Well, that's cool. Yeah, it's a good thing for sure. But I have a lot of ideas piling up that I need to just get some sketches out and kind of be ready to do. Totally. And with
with the murals, what's like the biggest mural you've painted now?
Probably the one in the high school. I don't even know what the dimensions were, but I needed a scissor lift, a 19-foot scissor lift. So, and it was a little bit off the ground, so what was it? Oh, I think I have it on my iPad, maybe.
That's cool.
Yeah, the scissor lift was fun. That was my first time doing that.
Yeah.
Obviously. And I also had to get a stencil made too they wanted a 3-line quote.
Whoa.
And I don't do hand lettering.
Yeah.
That is not my thing. So, let's see. I don't know if I put the dimensions on there.
So
but anyway.
How'd you get this job for the high school?
Thumbtack.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's on here. Anyway, pretty big though.
Yeah. Was that daunting, having to paint something that big?
You know, it really wasn't, because once I have the design on my iPad, I haven't tried a squiggle grid yet. You know what that is, right?
What's a squiggle grid?
Well, sometimes artists will make a design on their iPad before they go to a wall.
Right.
And then they'll go to the wall and take a picture. They'll do squiggle grid, which is like letters and squiggles all over the wall to have reference points, and then they overlay it onto their design, and then they know where to paint.
So like draw a giant A.
It's kind of like a grid. But they have, there's the A, what goes over the A kind of thing.
Yeah, like what goes in the little triangle.
Right. So with the high school mural, I had a grid because it was cinder block wall.
Oh, okay.
So I could kind of see where everything needed to go.
Yeah.
And I use that as a reference.
Nice.
But I'm just kind of good at proportion stuff. So that's...
So they always come out pretty similar to the iPad, or spot on, or...
Pretty similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Often more detailed.
Yeah, I imagine.
I want to do the best I can on every one, you know,
right.
And so it just happens.
Yeah, and the iPad's more, like you said, a sketch, like you're not adding the full detail to it, or... It
depends. Some people will pay me for an actual official design because they'll have to submit it to a committee for approval.
Yeah.
Like at the high school, I had to do a more official one because they needed to get it approved.
Okay.
So they will pay me a design fee, and then if they book with me, I'll put it towards the total.
Gotcha.
So I have another one I'm going to do a design for. It's a behavioral health center off Quebec and 470. And they're going to pay me a design fee. I'm waiting for that. And I'll do a much more official design for them. And they have to submit it. And like a couple of us are probably submitting. And then they'll decide which one of us they're going to use. So
yeah. Does that happen often where you submit the design and then they pay the fee, but they don't want to go through with the mural?
Not yet.
No? Nice.
So far. Usually I'm not competing with too many other people. Like the high school, they knew they wanted to use me. They just had decided that I could do the look they were looking for. And so they weren't talking to anyone else.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I think like the behavioral health place, I think they've got at least one other person, you know, they're kind of working with. So
okay.
We'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you doing all these by yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
It is cool. There are times when I'm like, gosh, I wish I had someone to help me out, you know? Like at the high school, some people were messaging me, can I come paint with you? And I'm like, actually no, because I had a contract with them and like liability insurance and all this stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Like being on the lift and everything.
Yeah.
So how'd that work out, like with the lift for the first time? They just like handed it over to you and let you do your thing, or
the guy that delivered it just showed me how the controls work, but there's pretty much like a lever that moves you up and down, and then you just hit a button and then it will drive you back and forth. So and then you charge it at night.
That must have been cool.
It's so fun. And I'm like going down the hall to where to store it, and I'm on the lift, right? But it's kind of high already, right? Because the scissors have to fold up to come down, so you have to climb off of it, off the back. So I'm like driving down the hall of the high school, like, oh, fast, like on the scissor, because you really get the hang of it by the end.
Yeah, I bet.
So I was kind of cruising.
So with these like public spaces, are you doing them? Do you have to do them in like weird hours when they're closed down, or do you do it during the middle of the day?
Yeah, so that was kind of hard with the high school. Luckily, the students weren't there on Wednesdays, and they had a random Tuesday off the week I happened to be starting, so I got 2 full days.
Yeah.
And then I went in on the weekend and did 2 full days, Saturday and Sunday. They happened to be there for volleyball or, a play and stuff like that, so I was able to get access to the building. And then I did a super late night when they had the cleaning crew there.
Nice.
To finish it up.
They're all watching you.
On and off.
Yeah.
I mean, people are walking by, but it is weird when people sit and just watch.
Yeah. Do they ever people try and talk to you or ask
Sometimes
you about your work?
Yeah. And I'm kind of grooving out, so I don't mind a couple of those. But when it's 10 people come by in the same day, you're kind of like, I really got to get the sooner, because the sooner I finish, kind of the more money that goes in my pocket, right? Because if I'm renting a lift, every day that I have the lift is another day that I'm paying for it.
Right.
So I got that one done in 5 days, and I was shocked because I kind of booked 2 weeks for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then you can start another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or rest.
Yeah. All right. So with murals, I guess the big difference with doing a canvas is you can kind of just sit down and do it in front of you. Murals, obviously that was the only one you're on the lift, but the other ones you're kind of running around, climbing up and down ladders. So it's takes a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if I had 3 nurseries in the last couple of weeks that I was doing, but 2 of them, the babies weren't there, so they let me leave my stuff, so that's helpful. But another one, the baby was already there, so I'm also unloading all my equipment in and out each day. Yeah, so that's a lot, because there's my ladder and a big tub of paints, and I have a ton of colors of paint, so I try to just organize and bring the ones I need for each job too, because those get heavy.
I bet.
Yeah. But I did do something cool with the high school mural. I planned it mostly with colors I already had. Yeah. Because they wanted bright colors. So I just got all my paints out all over my living room and was I'll use the, that, so I could save some money, not buy as many.
Yeah.
So.
How long do you typically spend in a day working on these?
It's between 6 and 8 hours.
Yeah.
If I get tired, I just stop because I start messing up or getting a little quivery, and then the brush isn't as straight. So. Yeah,
because you need a lot of focus and.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of focus and a really steady hand.
Yeah, and these are all mostly multiple day projects, multiple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've usually the nursery tree murals kind of are a 2-day thing.
Yeah.
But
you got the trees down.
Yeah. Yeah. But the high school one took 5 days, full days.
Yeah.
And I really pushed it on that one.
Yeah, that was the biggest and probably took you the longest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Has there been something someone asked you to do that was maybe out of, you felt it was out of your league, or something that really challenged you?
When I first was getting a lot more jobs last summer when I was doing way more, I did this guy's rooftop patio. He has this huge, I can't remember how, 20 feet long by 8 foot tall wall.
Yeah.
And it was kind of stucco-y. And I hadn't worked on that yet. And he wanted a beach scene. And he was definitely into art. He had collector's things throughout his house.
Yeah.
And he had taken a picture of a beach in California, and he wanted a version of that. He was very specific on colors and just very kind of, but he wanted my touch on it, but he also was just really opinionated about it. And I don't get that as often. And so I was more nervous painting that one because, you know, I wanted the guy to like it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he's going to say and, you know, how it's going to go. And he was even kind of harder approving colors when I was buying them and just very specific. So when people have a very specific vision in mind, that can be harder. It can feel like more pressure.
Because most people come with just like an idea, but not a specific picture, I guess.
Yeah, well, they can have a picture, but they're just more relaxed about it.
Okay.
Like, you know, I don't know. Or they've seen my work and they like something that I've already done.
Gotcha.
So those are probably the easiest because I've already gone through the motions.
Yeah.
And I just can do it similar again.
Yeah.
But that guy, that was different.
It came out all right?
It did, and he really liked it. It looks really cool.
Nice.
But yeah, because he's like strung up lights and everything, and there's couches out there, and so it looks really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it intimidating painting on someone else's wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I get nervous. Like if I start to think about it too much, I get a little freaked out. But I'm like, what if they don't have this color anymore, and I can't, like, if I mess up, I can't go over it. Like, what do? I have to try to match the color in the room, or you know, how you're gonna handle all of that. So I mean, knock on wood, but that hasn't really happened yet. You know, it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
But there's always like this risk that you're gonna kick over a thing of paint onto their carpet, or you know. So all that stuff's kind of, I have to be really careful.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I guess I know you also have stuff in the gallery, the Denver Art Society. And you've been to some art shows and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's like totally different from your mural art. How's that been?
I like it, but it feels like a lot more. I like being at Denver Art Society because they kind of take care of stuff for you. They take care of sales and sales tax and all those things, right?
Yeah.
So you just get to hang your stuff, and then people sell it for you. You know,
see what happens,
right? Exactly. Versus a show, I've done a couple of those, and there's so much work setting up and then running the show and taking it all down and taking it home and, you know, charging people and setting up lights or whatever. So I don't love that as much because it feels like a lot of labor.
More work than doing art. Yeah. That's like more pressure than creating murals for you.
It is.
Yeah.
And just, it's bringing art that I have at home that I've already made, I guess hoping someone's going to like it, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
That's definitely interesting. So that's like something you want to keep doing, or not so much?
I want to keep doing it sometimes.
Right.
Like if I have free time. The other thing is murals are way bigger in the summer, and a lot of those art shows or festival type things are happening in the summer too. So I'm kind of tired from doing murals, and then I don't, you know, necessarily want to do as many show type things. But I did sign up for the Avalon one that we're doing in Boulder. Are you doing
I'll be there too.
Yeah. So, and Garnet, do you know her? She does
Garnet
pottery.
Glaze, yeah.
So she paid for a whole tent. So she said I could, like, she'll just have her pottery there. So she said I could hang stuff from the tent.
Oh, cool.
So I'm thinking I'm going to get a couple of, like, big versions of my murals.
Yeah.
And hang them down, like, around the tent. She said I can just advertise there. So
some big, like, prints of your murals?
Yeah, like, you know, online stuff like Vistaprint.
Yeah.
You can order like a banner.
Yeah.
So I might do some of my murals.
Oh, cool.
Maybe put my name on them. I haven't decided quite yet, but I'm looking into that because that would be an easy way to advertise. Or if I just do like blank murals, I could maybe sell them too. So I haven't figured all that out yet, but I'm totally looking into some kind of like more passive income. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like if I can make some of my murals into wallpaper.
That would be cool.
Or like vinyl cutouts or something.
Right.
then they can be selling in the background, like online and getting shipped out. And I'm just getting like a cut of those. So that's kind of definitely a plan in the future, because I've already done the murals.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool to just get paid for them again, kind of thing? So, and I don't know how,
awesome.
Right? I don't know how copyrights work for all that or what. I have no idea. So I have a lot to learn, but
right.
I do think it would be really cool.
Yeah, because right now it's just you, and you're only getting paid for when you actually paint a mural.
Right.
For when you like put in that time.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's like a lot to keep up with.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
And I've worried sometimes, I'm like, what if I get sick and I, can't do the person's mural? Because they give me a deposit, a 50% deposit
right.
to book a date, and then I get the supplies and everything. And what if I can't make a week and I have all these others scheduled other weeks?
Yeah.
So I try to only do one a week.
Okay.
That way, if I need to catch up on someone's, I can throw it in there. But
yeah. You've never ran into like problems with like getting close to deadlines or...
I did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because I was going on a trip, and I had worked like 3 days at a restaurant, and they originally said they wanted me out of there by 11 when they opened, so I was going only 8 to 11, and I was only having like 3-hour days in the morning. I was like, how am I gonna get this done? But like the second day, I think, the manager was like, you can stay much longer, it's fine. And so I just kept working, but the third day I was like, I have got to get this thing done. And I had to do a quote at the bottom and everything too, so that was a lot of pressure because I was leaving the next day.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Did that affect like while you were like painting it? Did you feel like obviously like the pressure like and like feeling rushed, do you think that like caused you to, because I know like some people like procrastinators, they like wait till the last minute and that's when their best work comes out, but some people are just way too stressed and get anxious and aren't able to like create under pressure.
I think I create under pressure.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I think I do too. That's like a lot of artists do. Yeah, definitely.
And I had pressure like at the high school, because I'm like, the sooner I return the lift, the more money I get back, and just like, it's kind of a good feeling because you just get in the zone.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got to get this done, but I love it.
So you kind of like creating pressure for your work or for your...
I do.
Yeah.
The restaurant one was a little too much for me.
Yeah. But
I still felt like I did a great job on it, so.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he loved it.
Is this like, are you intentionally, with that one, it was obviously like other stuff that happened, but are you intentionally like putting pressure on yourself for some of these?
No.
It just kind of happens?
I mean, I think I do kind of create my own pressure because I'm often like, the more I get done today, I could cut a whole day off. And then that technically is making more money, right? Per hour kind of thing.
Right.
So the sooner I finish them, the more money I made on that wall. So if I cut out a whole extra day of driving and drive time and gas and just all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is a sense of urgency
so
every
it's like
time.
a mental pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Plus, I'm in someone else's house and their space. And I'd rather, like, while I don't mind it at the time, I'm also kind of like, I'd like to get out of here,
At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything you're working on now? Any projects you have coming up?
Well, that Boulder show.
The Avalon, yeah.
Yeah, I got to decide what I'm going to hang in the tent, and
you're gonna try and do prints? Are you gonna make new stuff for that, or just try and get stuff out of your murals you've already made?
I may try to make a couple new things for that.
Yeah.
I haven't decided. I mean, if I do, obviously it'll be acrylic because I do oil also on canvas, and those tend to sell better for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it'd have to be acrylic. I would love to figure out how to make prints, but I just don't know how to. I've kind of made that. I put that in my too hard box where I'm like taking the photo, getting the right size, getting the colors and everything to look
Yeah,
right.
the colors is tricky.
Right?
And the quality too, I'm sure, with the murals, getting all that detail in,
Yeah.
that'll be tough.
Yeah. So
It's definitely doable.
yeah. So anyway, if I can at least get like a banner or two printed through Vistaprint and have those ready, then I will be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I also need to get caught up on like paperwork stuff for the business and doing some more designs and.
What's the paperwork stuff?
Well, sending thank you cards.
Okay.
Designs, like there are emails just following up with people. I don't even know. I owe people like that behavioral health design I need to do once I've been waiting on the check. And then I have 2 other kind of sketches that I have out there that I need to do. That I just get these consults and I'm like, I'll get something back to you, like an estimate and a sketch back to you in the next like week or so.
Yeah.
So I kind of have those rolling and happening all the time.
Between like the sketches and the consultation and all that goes, all the prep work, like how in advance are you planning out these murals? Like if you get a job through Thumbtack.
Often, like I'll be messaging them and we'll set up a consult, and then within the week I will usually get a design back to them.
Okay.
And they'll book with me pretty quick if they want something to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes they want a few weeks out. Other times they want next week if I'm available. So
yeah.
Just that's cool. I actually prefer it when it happens more quickly because I had the last couple weeks we booked out in advance and it just wasn't on my brain as much anymore.
Yeah.
So I had to like revisit all the conversations we had and all the messaging and my sketching and just kind of remember what the heck I'm doing before I went there, you know?
Yeah, it's like a little extra work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. That's
interesting. So I'm wondering what your sacred space is like.
Well, since my separation, I've really been figuring that out. And part of it is giving myself space to like be healthier. So like eating healthier and getting in nature more and giving myself free time. 'Cause that's been like something inside me tells me that I have to be busy all the time. Yeah. And I'm trying to learn to like chill that out and listen to my body. And like today I took a nap because I was tired, and you got to listen to that stuff, you know?
That felt pretty good.
Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah. So, sacred space isn't just, you know, what I paint or whatever.
Totally.
It's also like just listening to myself and treating myself right for me. And so that's what I've been trying to create for me and my son. And I'm trying to teach him how to listen to his body and how to, you know, not have to be busy all the time. Because that's, like I said, that's one of my things is like, I feel like I have to be busy, and just remembering that I'm enough as I am, you know, and I don't have to be constantly working or, you know, busy all the time. So breathing and taking that space for me has been a learning curve for sure.
Yeah. How are you teaching your son this to find his space?
I'm hoping I'm doing it by example.
Yeah.
But also when he has emotions or things coming up, feelings coming up, we try to talk about it, you know.
Yeah. Just be there for him.
Yeah, but also just what are the sensations in your body? And we don't have to, you know, mask it or cover it up or shove it down. We're allowed to be uncomfortable sometimes. You know, sacred space isn't always about just being comfortable. It can be listening to the uncomfortable moments too.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily share that part with murals, but
Yeah.
that's kind of something that I work on.
Yeah.
Is not pushing through and ignoring that kind of stuff, but letting it bubble up. And it's okay to feel frustrated or whatever, but what does frustration feel like in your body? So really checking in with the swirls and the way your energy's moving and flowing, and just so I'm kind of more in tune with all of that.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
sometimes I feel like people, find that kind of like woo-woo or whatever, so
No,
I have
mean,
a hard time expressing that part of it.
Yeah, I think society made it hard to express that for everyone.
Yeah.
But I agree, like, that's the idea of sacred, just having this space where you don't want to feel forced to just express positive and happy emotions. Like, you want to have the space to express anything and everything.
Yeah, and to just be,
To
however.
understand it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's all okay to be whatever it is in the moment.
Yeah.
So you don't have to change it or force it to be something else or cover it up or, let's make you feel better. No, it's okay to feel like crap sometimes.
You don't have to work nonstop to be validated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I relate.
So
Has your son been involved in your art or murals at all?
yes, he doesn't like it as much as I do, but he loves to support me. He's definitely like my number one fan.
That's cool.
But he has come with me to some outdoor murals. We've actually gone to Dino's house and painted like in his backyard. He has a cement wall that he covers and lets people paint back there.
Nice.
And he came with me when I volunteered at Denver Art Society a couple weeks ago, and he painted a canvas and he wanted to hang it up and sell it. So it's up in my area and it's on sale.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think I can't remember what it's called. Something Sunglasses Galaxy or something like that. And yeah, he was getting inspiration from all around the gallery, and I think it's on sale for like $30.
Ooh, I hope he sells it.
Me too.
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, he's a fan, but he doesn't lean toward art as much as me.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is fine.
cool.
We're finding other outlets for him. He kind of likes to build and is kind of like engineer minded.
Still like very hands-on, like different than art, but very similar to in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll see buildings or he'll see, build stuff that way. So
Yeah. That's
kind of cool. Legos and stuff like that.
Legos are the best.
Yep.
For sure. Okay, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
But before I ask my last question, where can people check out your art, or if they want to book you for a mural? See what you're up to.
Yeah, I have Facebook and Instagram. Both are at Claire's Sacred Spaces.
Yeah.
And I have a website, which is not always as up to date as my Instagram, but it's www.clairssacredspaces.com.
Claire's Sacred Spaces.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
All one word. So.
So, Claire, I'm wondering, what does art mean to you?
I go back to the sacred space, and art for me is I'm creating sacred space for me, and I often create it for other people, kind of to give them their sacred space. So I guess I use art to create sacred space for people. But for me, it helps me get in touch with my sacred space inside, because I'm like in the zone and working and just loving it and loving all the fractals and all the things I paint. Does that make sense?
Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Andreas Talks Art. Don't forget to leave me a review. It helps me improve the show. And if you got anything out of this episode, I'd really appreciate it if you shared it with one of your friends. Until next time, yeah.
Peace out.